We hear a lot about at Diraq. It's a startup. It's a quantum computing startup. But I think people forget that you and the team have been working here for 20 years.
Indeed.
Building this up.
Indeed, yeah. So it's been a long time.
Now you're building stuff. 20 years ago, it was theory. Is that right? So what have you seen happen? Tell me about that. Because apart from Andrew and a few others, there aren't many who've been here through all of those papers, all of those milestones. Every time someone said, "Oh, that's impossible. You're never going to make you know."
Yeah.
Yet here you are.
Yeah. So it's as you say, it was theory. It was an idea. Originally, Bruce Kane's idea in '98 to build a quantum computer. Originally, phosphorus atoms in silicon.
Yes.
So that was the very early part of the research, and I was working with the team in the early years, around 2005, 2006. I had a paper with phosphorus implanted donors in silicon and doing the very first single electron type work in that device.
Can we go a little deeper on that?
Mm-hmm.
So, Fay, phosphorus dots?
Yes, so this first device that I'm talking about was to implant phosphorus to be electrical leads, and then we also implanted a little puddle of phosphorus atoms to be a quantum dot.
Right, so we're trying to, in that scenario, show that we can create useful qubits for quantum computing at scale.
Yes.
That's the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you describe the ultimate mission, because I always say useful quantum computers that can solve real-world not-play problems need millions or billions of qubits. That's the mission. Large-scale fault-tolerant postness. Is what are we trying to build here?
So today we're trying to build a scalable platform. So this is why we're focused on silicon, because this is a existing foundry scale technology that's already well developed. Everybody's heard of it. Everybody knows about it on some level. So trying to link in and mesh with that with a quantum device that can be fabricated in that kind of foundry. So going back to those original first steps, that we were trying to achieve the first pieces of the puzzle, such as, can we put some surface gates on top of silicon with some phosphorus inside the silicon, and can we transfer a single electron and control it and start to see some of the quantum properties of that single electron? Those were the very early basic results that we were looking at.
So why did we shift from phosphorus to, I say we, I had nothing to do with it. Why did you shift from phosphorus to single electron spins, which still blows my mind, in silicon, in just standard silicon chips?
So it's a good question. The progression followed from those phosphorus implanted devices. We realized that looking at, say, gallium arsenide devices where you have a heterostructure under the surface, you put surface gates on top and you draw electrons from another area of the device and bring them to where you want to work with them. We realized between us that we could do that in silicon. We didn't have to implant phosphorus everywhere inside the silicon. We could use surface gates to draw the electrons to where we want to work with them and create single electron dots, quantum dots, and that's how the device progressed.
That must have been quite an exciting moment, was it, when you realised you could just do it in silicon? Yeah,
that was a really big breakthrough. So the historical paper is the one by Susan Angus, who is a PhD student of the group, working with Andrew Ferguson. I think that was published in 2006. And that's that kind of very first device that's very, very heavily cited.
Right. So, just sticking with phosphorus just for a second, do you think that, because we've got superconducting, we've photonics, ion traps, when people hear silicon, there's actually differences in the approach to creating quantum computers in silicon as well. We're talking spins in silicon. What's the challenge with phosphorus at scale? Are there foundries at the moment that could produce chips with millions or billions of qubits using a phosphorus deposition technology of any sort, do you think?
I think it's very challenging because you add another level of fabrication into the device where you've got to precisely position dopant atoms exactly where you want them.
Right.
If you don't have to bother with that, it's a win. I think it's more simple, it's more elegant, and it's easier to scale up, easier to roll out.
And Diraq doesn't need to do that. That's just the standard foundry.
Indeed.
So are you part of these cycles with the foundries now? Has your role changed from this thinking about it to proving it to now we're doing it with commercial foundries? Is that enjoyable, seeing the theory now turn into a sort of commercial reality? Do you feel we're getting close to scale?
Yeah, totally. I think it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to working on this next step, where we try and integrate the fabrication that we've done over time in our university laboratories with relatively small scale equipment, and seeing how that transfers to foundry level type fabrication.